Your thoughts aren't yours. The beliefs you'd swear are common sense. The fears that keep you up at night. The dreams you're too ashamed to admit. Stolen, borrowed, inherited from dead strangers and algorithms you'll never meet. You've been gaslit by evolution, brainwashed by culture, and hypnotized by screens, all while believing you're in control. This video is your heist manual to take it back. We'll start in the shadows of your skull, where a Stone Age brain still runs the show. That voice telling you to hoard money, crave sugar, or panic over imaginary futures. It's not you. It's a survival app that hasn't updated in 50,000 years. Next, we'll trace the invisible ink of culture, the rules about good and selfish, possible and crazy, tattooed onto your psyche before you could talk. Finally, we'll drag the 21st century's puppet masters into the light, the apps, ads, and platforms turning your attention into their currency. But knowledge is power. When you see the strings, you can rip them. When you name the ghosts, they lose their grip. This isn't about fixing you. It's about weaponizing awareness. In this video, you'll learn why you think the way you do and what it means about you. You've been held mental hostage long enough. Let's begin. Let's start at the beginning. Not your beginning, but ours. Long before cities, TV shows, or digital gurus, humans were just trying to survive. Now think about it for a second. Our earliest ancestors weren't made for debating the meaning of life. They were running from lions, hunting for food, gathering around fires. Their brains weren't designed for poetry or anxiety. They were built to keep them alive. And guess what? You still carry that ancient wiring inside you. Every thought, every fear, every gut reaction. It's all got roots in that primal past. Your brain is like an old house with messy renovations. The oldest part, the foundation, is pure instinct. It's why you pull your hand away from a hot stove before you even feel the burn. It's why your heart races when you're alarmed. Then there's the middle layer, the emotional core. This is where love, fear, and loyalty live. It's why you feel a pain when you hear a song from high school, or why you get defensive when someone criticizes your family. Finally, the top floor, the fancy new addition, is your rational mind. This is where you plan, dream, and overthink. But here's the catch. These layers don't always get along. Ever notice how you know there's no monster under the bed, but you still can't shake that creeping fear, or why you crave junk food even when you're not hungry? That's your ancient brain talking. It's still wired for a world where danger lurked in the shadows and calories were scarce. But now, that same wiring misfires. Your brain treats a harsh email like a saber-toothed tiger. It mistakes Instagram likes for tribal approval. You're not broken. You're just running software that's a few thousand years out of date. Here's where it gets wild. Most of what you think and do happens without you even realizing it. Imagine your mind as an iceberg. The part you're aware of, the tip, is just your conscious thoughts. The huge hidden chunk below, that's your unconscious. It's why you can drive home on autopilot, or why you instantly distrust someone who reminds you of a childhood bully. This part of your brain isn't evil. It's just efficient. It's trying to save energy by automating decisions. But it also holds on to old habits, fears, and biases like a hoarder. Ever tried to quit biting your nails or stop procrastinating? That's your unconscious fighting back. It clings to what's familiar, even when it's hurting you. So what do we do with this? First, cut yourself some slack. That voice in your head telling you you're overreacting or being irrational. It's not you. It's generations of survival instincts yelling over each other. Next time you catch yourself worrying for nothing, pause and ask, is this a real threat? Or is my brain stuck in caveman mode? When you're scrolling social media at 2 a.m., recognize it's not laziness. It's your inner hunter-gatherer, still hunting for one more hit of dopamine. But here's the good news. You're not stuck with this. You can't delete millions of years of evolution, but you can learn to work with it. Think of your mind like a team. The instinctive part? It's the overprotective friend who means well but panics easily. The emotional core? The passionate artist who feels everything deeply. The rational mind? The calm planner trying to keep everyone on track. Your job isn't to silence any of them, it's to help them collaborate. You won't fix yourself by doing this, but it's the first step to understanding why you are the way you are. Those late night worries, the habits you can't kick, the way you freeze under pressure, they're not random, they're echoes. And once you hear them for what they are, you start seeing patterns. You start finding cracks where light can get in. Your mind isn't a machine, it's a story, a messy, beautiful, ongoing story, written by survival, shaped by time, and edited by every choice you make. And the first step to changing the plot is knowing where the story began. The moment you're born, the world's already decided what's normal for you. Before you can talk, before you even know your name, culture's already shaped you. The words you'll speak, the bedtime stories you hear, the way your family fights or jokes at the dinner table. It's not just noise, it's building the blueprint of your mind. You don't pick your culture, it picks you. And like initials carved in fresh concrete, it leaves grooves that set into what feels like common sense, right and wrong, or how things are. But what if those marks aren't as permanent as they feel? Let's start with something simple. Language. The words you use don't just describe the world, they define it. In English, you waste time. In Spanish, you lose it. Perder el tiempo. In Mandarin, time can be spent like currency. Without realizing it, the structure of your language trains you to see time as an enemy, a resource, or a thief. This isn't just grammar, it's philosophy in disguise. Ever wonder why some cultures prioritize punctuality while others value flexibility? It's not random, it's baked into the verbs. But language is just the tip of the iceberg. Think about the stories you grew up with. Fairy tales about heroes and villains. Religious parables about sacrifice and redemption. Even the way your family talks about money, love, or success. These narratives aren't neutral, they're blueprints. They teach you who to trust, what to fear, and what to aspire to. A child raised on stories of individual triumph, think the American self-made man, will see life as a solo race. A child steeped in tales of community, like Ubuntu's I am because we are, will see it as a collective dance. Neither is wrong, but both are programmed. Here's where it gets personal. Your values aren't really yours. They're hand-me-downs. Take something as basic as beauty. Why do you find certain faces attractive? Why do you feel pressure to dress a certain way? It's not just biology. It's centuries of art, media, and social rituals whispering, this is desirable. The ancient Greeks idolized symmetry. The Edo period in Japan celebrated pale skin. Today's filters and fillers? They're just the latest version of a game that's been rigged for millennia. You don't choose the rules, you just inherit them. But culture isn't a villain. It's a survival tool. Early humans couldn't afford to reinvent the wheel with each generation. Culture was, and still is, a cheat code. It packages hard-earned wisdom into rituals, traditions, and social norms. Here's a taboo. Build stronger communities. Here's a marriage custom. Yet this gift comes with chains. The same norms that protect us can also suffocate us. Think about the weight of should. You should marry by 30. You should want children. You should chase promotions, not passion. Where do these shoulds come from? They're not laws of nature. They're cultural ghosts, haunting your choices. All right, how do you even start untangling yourself from all this? First, you've got to take a hard look at the world you've always accepted as normal. That voice in your head that says, this is right or this is wrong. Pause and ask, do I actually believe this? Or did someone else hand it to me? That shame you feel when you crave something different. A career switch. A love that doesn't fit the mold. Ditching the 9-to-5 grind. Don't own it. That's not your shame. It's a hand-me-down, like a dusty old vase your ancestors left on your shelf that you never agreed to display. But here's the twist. You don't have to reject your culture to reclaim yourself. Think of it like editing a draft. Keep the parts that nourish you, the holidays that warm your heart, the rituals that ground you. Question the ones that shrink your spirit. A farmer doesn't hate the soil. He tills it, plant new seeds, and grow something fresh. You can do the same with your cultural inheritance. The poet Ocean Vuong once wrote, "We were born from myths. Why not live inside the ones that let us breathe?" Your cultural imprints aren't fate. They're a starting point, a palette. You get to decide which colors to keep, which to mix, and which to paint over. But first you have to see the brushstrokes. Let's play a game. Look around you, the screen you're staring at, the chair beneath you, the walls of the room, solid, real, obvious. Now ask yourself, what if none of it is as solid as it seems? Not because you're dreaming, but because reality itself is a story we've all agreed to tell. A story built by words, images, and the quiet hum of power. You don't just see the world, you build it brick by brick with the tools culture gives you. But who handed you those tools? Start with the basics. Facts. You've been taught they're neutral, right? Cold, hard truths. But think again. Why do we call a protest civil unrest or a fight for justice? Why is a CEO's greed, ambition, and a single mom's struggle dependency? Language isn't a mirror, it's a chisel. It carves the raw marble of experience into shapes we call truth. And whoever holds the chisel holds the power. Take money, a dollar. Bill is just paper and ink, but we've all agreed to treat it as valuable. You trade hours of your life for it, panic when it's scarce, measure your worth by it. Yet its power isn't in the paper. It's in the collective hallucination we share. This is the magic trick of constructed reality. We breathe life into ideas until they become as real as gravity. Religion, borders, gender roles, they all work the same way. They're fictions, yes, but fictions with teeth. Now, add technology. Algorithms curate your newsfeed, your search results, even your dating pool. They don't show you the world. They show you a version of it, tailored to keep you clicking, buying, staying. Ever wonder why two people can watch the same event and walk away with opposite facts? It's not just bias. It's because their realities are built by different architects. Social media isn't a window. It's a funhouse mirror, warping reality to fit the narratives that profit someone else. But here's where you come in. Your brain isn't a passive sponge. It's a co-conspirator. Psychologists call this confabulation, the mind's habit of filling gaps in memory or logic with plausible lies. You do it every day. You rewrite past arguments to cast yourself as the hero. You convince yourself you're fine when you're not. You stitch together scraps of experience and call it the truth. We all do. It's how we stay sane. But it's also how we stay trapped. So how do you wake up from a dream you didn't know you were having? Start by questioning the props. When you feel certain about something, really certain, ask, who benefits from me believing this? When a headline outrages you, pause. Is this outrage yours, or was it planted there? When you judge someone's choices, ask, what invisible rulebook am I holding? This isn't about rejecting reality, it's about seeing the strings. Philosophers have argued for centuries about whether there's an objective world beyond our perceptions. But maybe the better question is, does it matter? Whether the world is real or not, you still have to live in it. The power lies in knowing you're not just a passenger, you're a builder. Think of reality as a shared novel. You didn't choose the plot or the setting, but you're holding the pen for your chapter. You can't scrap the whole book, but you can scribble in the margins, rewrite a stale trope, erase a harmful stereotype, add a twist that surprises even you. Reality is fragile. It cracks under pressure, bends with new voices, shatters when enough people stop believing in it. History's greatest shifts, civil rights, scientific revolutions, cultural awakenings, weren't just changes in what people did. They were changes in what people believed was possible. You're not powerless. You're a citizen of a world you helped create. And once you see the scaffolding, you can start climbing. Let's get real for a minute. Life doesn't care about your plans. Jobs vanish. Relationships shift. The news cycle spins faster every day. You've been taught to chase stability, to cling to answers like a life raft. But what if your real strength isn't in having it all figured out? What if it's in learning to surf the chaos instead of fighting it? Your mind isn't a statue, it's Play-Doh, and the more you knead it, the better it bends. Here's the thing. Your brain is built to change. Yeah, you heard that right. Those old sayings like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Total myth. Every time you try something scary, like learning a language, quitting a bad habit, or even just listening to a viewpoint that pisses you off, you're literally reshaping your brain. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, but forget the jargon. Think of it like wearing a new pair of shoes. At first, it's uncomfortable. Blisters form, but slowly the leather softens and suddenly you're walking taller. That's your mind. It molds to what you feed it. But let's be honest, change sucks. It feels like loss, letting go of who you were, the safe job, the predictable routine, the version of yourself that people liked, can make your chest tighten. Why? Because your brain's still wired like a caveman. It confuses familiar with safe. Ever stayed in a dead-end job or a May relationship way too long? That's not weakness. That's biology throwing a tantrum, screaming, but this is how we've always survived. So how do you outsmart your own wiring? Start by getting curious. When life lobs a grenade, a layoff, a breakup, a global meltdown, ask, what's this trying to show me? Not in a zen, #blessed way. Get gritty with it. Dig for the lesson like you're panning for gold in a mudslide. Trauma experts have a term for this: post-traumatic growth. It's not about being grateful for the pain. It's about sifting through the wreckage and finding scraps of meaning to rebuild with. Here's a trick. Use the problem to solve the problem. Stressed? Don't just doom scroll. Ask, what's this stress really about? Maybe it's your soul begging for a career pivot. Lonely? Don't binge Netflix. Ask, what hole am I trying to fill? Connection? Purpose? Your pain isn't random, it's a roadmap. Think about those Japanese artists who fix broken pottery with gold. They don't hide the cracks, they highlight them. The breaks become part of the beauty. Your mind works the same way. Every failure, every heartache, every identity crisis. Those aren't flaws. They're proof you're growing. Adaptation isn't about erasing the past. It's about turning your scars into street art. Let's bust another myth. Uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's your oldest wingman. Your ancestors didn't invent fire or sail oceans because they had a 5-year plan. They did it because they leaned into the what if. You've got that same DNA, that itch to explore, to reinvent, to say, screw it, let's try. That's not recklessness. That's your inner caveman finally upgrading to a philosopher. Now, I'm not saying you'll never feel fear. You will. But fear's just your body's overeager intern. It means well, but sucks at its job. Next time anxiety whispers, you're not ready, thank it for its input, and then ignore it. Courage isn't fearlessness. It's moving forward even when your knees are shaking. Adaptability boils down to 2 things: pay attention, then act. Noticing your patterns without changing them is just navel gazing. Acting without noticing is like throwing darts blindfolded. But mix them. That's magic. When the world feels like it's falling apart, ask, what's one tiny thing I can do right now to bend this situation? Maybe it's texting a friend instead of isolating. Maybe it's applying for that weird job you're not qualified for. Maybe it's just breathing for 10 seconds before reacting. You're not meant to be bulletproof. You're meant to be resilient, like a tree that bends in hurricanes but doesn't snap, or like a muscle that only gets stronger when you push it. The goal isn't to arrive somewhere. It's to fall in love with the messy, unpredictable journey of becoming. So drop the act. You don't need all the answers. You just need to keep showing up, adjusting your sails, and remembering, the best stories aren't about people who had it easy. They're about people who learned to dance in the storm. Here's the secret no one tells you. Understanding yourself doesn't end with a revelation. It begins with one. This video wasn't made to leave you with answers, but with better questions. Ones that hum in your bones long after you've turned the last page. You are not a machine to hack or a project to perfect. You are a conversation between biology and curiosity, history and hope. The instincts that once kept your ancestors alive now color your anxieties. The cultural myths you inherited still whisper in your decisions. The realities you've built feel solid, yet shift like sand underfoot. But in that fluidity lies your power. To adapt isn't to surrender. It's to choose, consciously, fiercely, what deserves a place in your evolving story. Take what you've uncovered here and hold it lightly. Let it unsettle you. Let it crack open doors in your mind you didn't know were closed. The goal isn't to master your thoughts, but to dance with them. To spot the ancient ghosts in your reactions, the silent puppeteers in your desires, and still decide, this is where I bend. This is where I push back. The mind is not a prison. It's a living landscape, wild and ever-changing. You've been given a compass. Now go wander.